My name is Dave Cochin. I'm a Human Services Administrator 2 of the Aging and Disabilities Department. And on behalf of the Aging and Disabilities Department, I want to welcome all of you joining us today for our second webinar on cerebral palsy awareness. We have a great panel today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We have time for a Q&A after our panelists' discussion. And you can also raise your hand or type in your question or comment in the chat. And with that, it gives me great honor to introduce to you the president of the Los Angeles County Commission on Disabilities, Mr. Carlos Benavides.
Hi, good morning, Dave. Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody that's here. My name is Carlos Benavides. As Dave mentioned, I'm president of the Los Angeles County Commission on Disabilities, and I'm looking forward to a great discussion. We have great panelists, as Dave said, so welcome everybody, and thank you all for participating.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Benavides. Now, our next speaker is Dr. Laura Trejo, the first director of the Los Angeles County Aging and Disabilities Department.
Good morning, and thank you, David, and thank you, Carlos, for always helping us to see the North Star. This is our second annual Cerebral Palsy webinar. We're so proud to make this an annual event with all of you. Thank you for showing your commitment and your understanding the importance of raising awareness of cerebral palsy. That's really why we're all here, because we want to make sure that we're building supportive communities for everyone. And so we're really excited to have you here. I want to take a moment to thank our president of our Commission on Disabilities, President Benavides, the commission as a total. Our commissioners work very hard on behalf of our community, and we're always very proud to have them side by side with us. I want to really thank our moderator, our webinar speakers, and all of the staff at Aging and Disabilities for their continued leadership and really passion to make sure that we're increasing the awareness of CP throughout Los Angeles County. You are a major part of that by joining us today, so we're very grateful. Although our collective efforts like this can help build more inclusive and supportive communities, we always want to make sure that we're recognizing other activities that are happening across our community, our state, and our nation. As you know, March is officially recognized as Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. It's also recognized by the Board of Supervisors, which makes us incredibly happy. And it also gives us an opportunity not only to learn more about cerebral palsy, but also to reflect on the courage and adaptability of individuals and their families who live with this every day. We always take a moment to recognize the effort that all of us are making in communities when we're living with different challenges. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, cerebral palsy is the most common motor disability in childhood, affecting movement, posture, and balance. While CP is often linked with premature birth and trauma during birth, it is not a hereditary condition. The effects of CP vary greatly from person to person, with motor symptoms ranging from mild to severe. It's important for us to remember that every person with CP has unique experience, and their abilities and challenges are as diverse as individuals themselves. Whether someone needs specialized equipment to walk or simply faces challenges with coordination, CP does not get worse over time. Those symptoms may evolve and change. As we continue to learn and grow in our understanding of CP, it is essential to ensure that everyone living with cerebral palsy has the resources, supports, and encouragement they need to live their best lives. That's really one of the cornerstones of the work of this department, is to really support all of the folks in our community to live the best lives possible. Together, I think we can create a world where people with CP are not only understood, but celebrated for their incredible the individuals that they are. We are hoping through this process, with your support and help, to increase awareness. We want to encourage all of you in March, on March 25th, to wear your green ribbon as a show of honoring those that live with cerebral palsy, as well as the incredible families, caregivers, advocates, all of those who play a role in making our communities the best place for all of us to thrive. I am truly excited about the conversations and connections we'll have today. I want to encourage you to really look at this as an opportunity of opening a conversation with the folks that are here. I want to extend a deep appreciation to all the panelists. We're always so grateful for your time and for your dedication. Thank you all for being here and for being part of this important dialogue here in Los Angeles County. I wish you a wonderful webinar. And please remember that your Department of Aging and Disabilities is there to provide you support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Trejo. And now I'd like to introduce Reena De Asis, founder of Inclusive Soul, which is dedicated to expanding access to resources, fostering community connections, and advocating for disability rights, especially for individuals with cerebral palsy and other disabilities based here in Los Angeles. She is also the moderator for the day. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everyone. As David had mentioned, we are so happy to have you here. And if you have any questions, I just want to make sure that the chat feature is on. Okay, great. So I'm just double checking. So if you all have any questions, you can definitely save it in the end, or feel free to engage in chat, and either the panelists or I will jump in, as well as the AD department or the commission, to answer any questions. And if you feel that you have the answer to a question that comes up, by all means, definitely feel free to also share the love online. So for the slides, the recording will be up on AD's website on YouTube. Department of Aging and Disability. And then if you wanted the slides interpreted in Spanish, that's also feasible. We have two remarkable speakers that have cerebral palsy, so I'm going to introduce them to you. Matthew Caleb Fernandez, for instance, if you want to engage with him online, the best way is definitely on Instagram. He's the budding entrepreneur, and he has his own clothing line. So Matthew, thank you for joining us. And Blanca, his mom, is on the line as well to jump in anytime. Then we have Kathleen Barajas. She has so much knowledge to share, and she's also a disability rights advocate. And we're looking forward to hearing from you, Kathleen. And then Dr. Tran, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the call. We're going to have some questions that we'll go over, and would love to start with Matthew in regards to maybe sharing his why, as far as what motivates him in his journey. And the bios won't actually be shared because it'll all be on screen. So Matthew, if you want to share a brief summary of your journey, we'd appreciate it.
What motivates me is I like to to exercise and to be active as much as possible.
What motivates you?
And also my motivation is my family, because they always been there for me since the day I was born. And and also that when I was born, I was born with with CP, and I was a pound and a half, and then the doctors they told my parents that that I was gonna be a vegetable, that I wasn't gonna be able to walk or talk or do anything. And no, and here I am, 26 years later, and I'm trying my best that I can every day, even though that I have a condition that that uh um um okay, can you
Yes.
Sorry.
What can you talk on?
no no
Even though you were born with the condition for disability,
no yeah
you get to show up.
no
Okay.
yeah I get
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
I get a show up for myself and like um like no matter what I'm still me regardless of my disability or not, like and no and the no no and also like others no the way I see it is like um well, no, no the way I see it is that no like even though that like we have a disability, nothing can stop us or define us who we are. Because all of us are warriors in our own way, and we never backed up from the fight.
Yeah.
And we just gotta keep going and we strong,
Yes.
be who we are, regardless of any situation or whatever struggle we go through in life. So, thank you.
I appreciate Matthew's digital advocacy and the way that he shows up. And I really want to thank you. Our conversation yesterday was very insightful. And because of your journey, you're really showing people just really what people with cerebral palsy can do by defying the odds. So thank you so much, Matthew, for sharing a glimpse of your journey. And next up, I would love to also hear from Kathleen. And I thank everyone also for having the patience when interacting with people who have a speech impairment. And I love from her site and you can learn more on her website about how important it is to have acceptance in the interaction respect. So if you could as well, Kathleen, give us just what your one defining moment of what led you to be a disability advocate and leader, we would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Although I've been advocating for myself all my life, I never considered disability advocacy until I learned about the leadership and advocacy course which was planned at a local independent living center. It sounded very interesting to me and I was at a point in life where I needed something new. It was a 6-week course and I not only enjoyed it, I learned so much from it. I discovered that it was a second career that I would love to have. I've always considered myself a good writer and knew that would be an asset as a disability rights advocate. It was at that time that I purchased my first iPad, which I also used as a communication device, and as they say, the rest is history. I am beyond proud to share that I am a recognized name in the disability community because of the commitment and dedication I have made on behalf of my constituents. One defining moment pertaining to advocacy that I will share with you is when I got chosen to be on Metro's Community Leadership Committee for the 710 Freeway. This committee was created to gain community input of what was felt to be needed in and around the 710 corridor. Approximately 3 individuals were chosen from each of the cities which lie near the 710 Freeway. The reason why being chosen to be on this committee was so defining for me is because this was not a disability-related committee. I was the only member with a visible disability, meaning that I would have the honor to represent the needs of the disability community. Needless to say, I was thrilled to have this opportunity, as I remember being told in my leadership and advocacy course that an ultimate goal as an advocate was to serve as a representative of the disability community on a non-disability related committee or board.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so powerful. I appreciate you, Kathleen. And I know you were a little under the weather, so thank you for making it happen and still joining us today. First of all, I want to ask for grace for the text mix-up. I wanted to weave myself in here briefly to also answer the question in regards to the why and what motivates you. And ultimately, it was the day that my son was diagnosed with spastic quad CP, my radiant Elijah soul, and this is why I founded Inclusive Soul, and would love to build community for those of you who have loved ones that have CP or have CP, and just really appreciate you being part of this conversation. And we are actually also going to discuss and connect on Dr. Tran's why when we get to that portion of the talk as well. So this part is for Matthew and Kathleen, and really learning from each of you. And weaved in are some really wonderful quotes, and I hope most of you know who Judy Human is. This one really resonates with me a lot, and I've been sending it out to quite a bit of people. So I thought I'd have a nice permanent place in this webinar, but I won't read all of them, but this one in particular. It's no longer acceptable to not have women at the table. It's no longer acceptable to not have people of color at the table, but no one thinks to see if the table is accessible. So I'm sure that resonates with most of you, and happy to share these slides later on. So this question is perhaps more for Matthew. When people are looking to step into roles where they can form allies with different organizations, what would you like for organizations to embrace as they can support people with cerebral palsy? How could they be better allies, in other words?
No, maybe by excuse me. No, maybe no. Maybe like maybe no, like maybe by finding resources for people with CP and possibly like maybe help if they need like guidance or something. Then no, and then they can go to like to maybe like centers that can help them, or if they need any information, they can just ask the person politely, or maybe the person can help them and possibly figure it out.
Yeah, I think to summarize what you're stating, Matthew, and I appreciate that. We had discussed a little bit in our last call how important it is for organizations to have training and to have that option for different means of communication. And so I love that you're advocating for that and really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
And for Kathleen, it's a different question. Would love to know if for those that have cerebral palsy or other disabilities, what is really the best way to step into an advocacy role the way you have? Like, I guess any tips that you might want to share?
First and foremost, when looking to step into leadership or advocacy roles, you must believe in yourself and your skills and talents. No one knows yourself and what you are capable of better than you, thus you need to be your biggest supporter. Never be hesitant or shy to promote yourself. Apply to boards and committees that interest you, even if you think you might not have all they're looking for. Many jobs have been obtained where the candidate went to the interview knowing that they didn't have all the qualifications being sought out. They promoted themselves by stressing that even though they did not have all the qualifications, they were fast learners and motivated to learn all that they needed to. I will say that getting on boards and stepping into leadership roles takes much dedication and effort. I suggest first researching the organization you're looking at to ensure that it will be a good fit for you. I joined one board about 18 months ago, and although I thought it would be a good fit for me from an event of theirs that I attended, I slowly realized that this organization is geared much more towards parents of individuals with disabilities, and so I predict that I will be resigning this year. It was a great learning experience for me though. Consider how often the board or committee meet and whether that fits into your schedule. Think over the length of the commitment as well. It is not always favorable to resign in the middle of a term, unless circumstances are beyond your control. Always ask for any reasonable accommodation you might need either for the interview or when you get a position on a board or committee. Using myself as an example, I need supportive communication, which in the virtual world is reading out loud my comments or questions I type in the chat window on Zoom. I do have my communication device, however, having to use a secondary device when my laptop keyboard is right in front of me makes my preferred way much handier. I have found that most committees are fine with this accommodation request except when it interferes with screen readers. In the many boards and committees I'm on, I rarely run into members with the same accommodation need. This could seem intimidating, to ask for an accommodation that is not always requested. However, it is a reasonable accommodation per the Americans with Disabilities Act, and as such you need to know that you need to request a reasonable accommodation without any hesitation.
Thank you. And I don't know if both of you are getting a chance to read the chat, Kathleen and Matthew, but you're getting a lot of love and praise and for being so resourceful and knowledgeable, and we really appreciate it. And we'll definitely save those chats for you later. Kathleen, I'm not sure if you want to build upon the question I asked for Matthew as well, as far as how organizations could be better allies. Was there anything you wanted to add to that in regards to supporting individuals with CP?
Yes.
Organizations and allies need to support individuals with all types of disabilities by providing any reasonable accommodations needed to assist the individual to interact in the setting. Staff will usually ask in the beginning what the accommodation needs are and should do whatever is needed to get those set up. I have even seen one organization offer voicing services in which someone will repeat what the individual with the speech impairment said. This is a very unique accommodation. I don't believe it's under the Americans with Disabilities Act, but of course it is very needed and I use it when I interact with this organization. Some larger organizations that ask you to travel for meetings pay for not only your travel expenses, but also for your caregiver, if you require one. One board that I'm on will even provide a caregiver, if your caregiver cannot travel with you. I really don't recommend this as individuals with cerebral palsy are not always understood by the average person on numerous levels, and so having your own caregiver who understands you and your needs is the best way if possible.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your feedback and tips that I believe is benefiting everyone, and not only how to advocate for themselves, but for their loved ones. So now we're going to transition to Dr. Tran. And Dr. Tran, if you wanted to also briefly share your why as to how you stepped into your journey into medicine and specifically working with young adults that have complex neurodevelopmental conditions, I would greatly appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Reena. And I just want to say hello to this community and everyone on the webinar. So I'm a family medicine physician. And so in family medicine, we take care of people throughout life. We call it womb to tomb. And I see patients at Rancho Los Amigos. And the lens with which I take care of patients is, how do I optimize your health and well-being? As you all know very well, patients with cerebral palsy, they're most likely a birth incident or something happened in childhood. And I can't necessarily fix that or change that, but how can I help you optimize the best of your abilities. I'm also a faculty member and I lecture at 2 of the medical schools in Los Angeles at the Charles Drew University and at USC. And I have medical students, I have medical trainees. And what I try to impart with them in caring for the community is how do we, so there are definitional things when you talk to someone in the medical community, like when you ask us for an accommodation versus asking us for something like access. So my recommendation, and I was talking to Reena earlier, like my pro tip for everyone is when you interact with the medical community, very little of your time is spent with us. So philosophically, health doesn't happen in the 4 walls of my clinic. Health happens where people live, work, play, and pray. And that is in community where you all live. So in the few like percentage moments, minutes of your time that you are with us, the best pro tip I can give you is when you're seeking resources, seeking something, because we go into medicine and we really want to help people. Like we really want to be accommodating to you. And a lot of times I have patients asking, oh, I want PT, I want this, I need a referral to let's say a cardiologist, a pulmonologist. Rather than asking us that, tell us what your struggle is. Like tell us, I'm having a hard time getting into my home or doing my transfers, and let us be creative and think about what we have in medical science to help you get to the best resource. Because sometimes a physical therapist might not be the best resource if what you're struggling with is, let's say, a transfer. Maybe an adaptive equipment might be the thing for you. So my pro tip recommendation as you seek resources and seek healthcare, tell me what you're struggling with. And then maybe collectively because you attend all the like disability expos, you probably know way more than we do. But we know some things that are being developed in medical science or medical technology that may be helpful. So I guess that would be my pro tip.
Thank you. I love that you just dove in. I was like, I'll just have a seat back here. You can just run with things. So we did talk about a lot of tips of like what could people walk away with, and hopefully that's really one of the main things besides developing more compassion and understanding and embracing inclusion in one's life for this webinar. Would love to learn like what are really some key steps, and you had already mentioned it, and if there's anything else to add that people can really just embrace when they're advocating from themselves in a medical setting. Was there anything else that you wanted to add on top of the tips that you shared?
Yeah. So there was a thing in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. I believe it was a teacher who was asking, how do they best support their student? And my tip is, what is it that you're supporting your student in? Like, are they, do they have challenges with like the written expressive language? Like there's something like, let's say they have a contracture in their hand, then tell the medical community like, oh, my student has a problem with handwriting. Then I can think, okay, do I need to send them to PT or to OT? Can I write them a prescription for an orthotic device? So if you tell me what you're struggling with, like the symptoms, let's call it that. Let's be really medical. Tell me your symptom and what you're struggling with. And then together we're like, okay, I can offer you this, I can offer you that. So we have a thing in medicine, it's called anchoring. Like if you come in and you say, I want to see OT, and I really want to be accommodating, I want to make you happy. Okay, I'll send you to OT. But is that really the best service? Is that the best discipline who could help you with what it is that you need? because you kind of led me down this tunnel vision. You anchored me like, okay, my patient wants this. Okay, I want to be helpful. Let me give you OT because that's what you asked for. But what if I said, there's this other possibility. I can send you to adaptive technology. Yeah. So
I love that. Like you had mentioned also about like trying not to have tunnel vision, and really, I actually really appreciated what you had mentioned when we were chatting about health. Do you want to like throw that quote in about the four walls, Dr. Tran?
that health doesn't happen in the four walls of my clinic, because really you're just with me 15 minutes every few months. Health happens where people live, work, play, and pray. Like, do you have the safest home? Do you have access to healthy food? Yeah. Do you live in a safe environment that could optimize the best you?
I think I love that. And it's honestly super insightful. I'm curious if there's anything else that you wanted to share as far as any latest developments when it comes to serving people with CP, whether it be in rehab or medicine.
We do research constantly on how to best optimize your health. We have a paradigm in medicine and the research that we do in advances. It's antiquated, but it's based in like, how do I prevent harm? How do I prevent people from, let's say, having cancer? But what we don't think about is like, how do we make something better? So for example, patients with spinal cord injury, there's now new data on like reversing, what is it called? Converting like a complete spinal cord injury to a partial. So, and that's what we do like in medicine as a paradigm shift on not like how do we prevent you from getting sick, but how do we optimize you from being well? How do we bring you closer? So when I think about disability, then it's really the reconciliation of the person and their environment. How do I get the environment either closer to the person, or how do I get the person closer to the environment? So let's say, for example, like I have terrible vision. If I wasn't wearing my contacts or glasses, I would really be legally blind. And I have this accommodation like glasses and contacts that has brought me closer to the world, just as you have wheelchairs or any adaptive equipment, like the iPad modified communication device that Kathleen's using. So constantly your doctors, your medical team, we think about the person, but maybe the lens that I see medicine, being family medicine, community medicine, is how do I get the community to come closer to the person? So this ability, and I think of it, it's either spelled DIS ability or this THIS, this ability. How do I reconcile the person and the environment? How do we get the person closer to the environment, or can we get the environment closer to the person? Yeah. I hope I answered your question, Reena.
Yes, of course. And there's some questions in the chat that again,
Okay.
we'll just keep the flow going. And if you happen to be able to answer those questions, we would greatly appreciate it, Dr. Tran, your insights.
I'll take it from the bottom.
Yeah.
If adaptive technology will be covered by Medicare or private insurance. There's a lot of, I know at least at Rancho, there's a lot of technology that is covered by Medi-Cal and Medicare and private insurance, and things that aren't paid for. If we've exhausted your insurance, your Medi-Cal, then regional center will pay for some of the technology also.
And I also wanted to share that on Inclusive Souls site, when you sign up for the e-list, you get a free guide for durable medical equipment and how to navigate the whole process here in California. It's only in English, but if you just email me, I can go ahead and send you a Spanish version as well. So hopefully that's helpful. It's just literally a one-pager that can help you navigate the joys of the insurance world of private medical and all that jazz. Lastly, this is going to be for all the speakers before we open up questions, and you can unmute yourself or you can keep putting the questions on chat. And, you know, maybe we could start with Matthew. Just really any takeaways for people in general as far as how they can, what can people do to create a more inclusive environment and then really just engaging with people who have cerebral palsy. And that could be in advocacy, that could be in just day-to-day interaction.
Yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
no,
yes,
no.
okay. In Matthew's case, what he needs is services with like rehabilitation centers, which he's already participating in Rancho Los Amigos, and he's being very helpful. So what we need is more resourceful places for with adaptations for children with anyone with disabilities, with especially cerebral palsy. Matthew needs to be very functional, like movement all the time because of his condition. And so this is very helpful for him to be integrated in the wellness center in Rancho Los Amigos. And he has been improved tremendously just by being there, you know, pulling the rope on the machines or anything. But I think they really will benefit from any resource available for them, for children with any person with disabilities, with especially cerebral palsy. In Matthew's case, he needs to be moving constantly, being like stretching. So I think he will benefit from rehabilitation center to help him lead independently. He needs to be lead independently to live a fulfilling life. And so I say that they need accessibility for mobility, like AFOs, anything that will help them be free in the community. In this case, we're in the process of getting a new wheelchair. In Matthew's case, he's in the process of getting his AFOs fixed because he left them for a little while, but he knows the need now because of going to physical therapy that he needs to wear his braces. And so he's now understanding that concept that he really needs to use his braces in order for him to be free in the community. Like he goes for walks, but he does what he can, even though he's not wearing his braces. But I think it'll be more helpful if he wears his braces. So that's what we're working on right now. That's, you know, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity because he gets to express what he really needs. And I think he will also benefit from a speech pad, like our friend has, Dr. So I think he'll benefit from a device like that, so he can be fully, you know, expressing himself, because I feel that Matthew has a lot to share. And when he shares on Instagram, he practiced so many times, and he read and he rewrite, and he does editing his videos so he can sound like he's fluent, but it's time. He's taking his time. He's not in a hurry. Like if we have a meeting, he can express himself as much because because of the condition. You know, it makes him limited of expression. And so, yeah, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I don't know. Yeah.
No. I love your enthusiasm. Listen, I get it, Blanca.
Yeah.
And thank you for advocating so much for your son.
Thank you.
What we had previously talked about, to summarize, is just how important it is for different places to have means of communication that cater to really everybody. So whether that be having an iPad that's available, or if you're trying to make an appointment, maybe it's not just being able to just call, that you can actually fill out a form online, and that's
Right.
another option. So I love exploring like more inclusive practices and being able to accommodate everyone's different needs. And thank you for sharing some examples of what Matthew goes through as well. And then Kathleen, did you have any other takeaways to wrap things up?
Yes. The biggest obstacle of having disease is having people think that you're not competent when in actuality, you know, I'm a very, very educated person.
Did you get that, or shall I revoice?
Okay.
Okay, so she said, and correct me if I forgot anything. Kathleen said she thinks the biggest point there is, you know, when living with CP is being perceived as not being competent, when in actuality, you know, she's very educated and very capable. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges.
Because when I grew up in the community a lot on my own.
When she goes out, you know, she goes out in the community quite a bit, most of the time on her own.
And I'm able to manage fine.
And she's able to manage fine.
Except for some people's perception of me.
Except for some people's perception of her.
My whole body.
Because of the way CP affects her whole body.
It's very unfair.
It's very unfair.
And that's why I founded my organization to educate society about people with CP.
And that's exactly why she founded her organization, to educate people about CP.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. What I did is I also, I'm not only on this presentation, but on the chat, I put your website, and I actually looked at the brochures that you created, and I appreciate that you emphasized that for people to truly have more compassion and not question people's competence based on, I think you had a quote on your site about, you know, judging a book by its cover. And ultimately, I think people here are learning that you are extremely intelligent and you have so much to share. And thank you for passing that along, your wisdom. So we have, I want to end on time. So I want to open up questions. And while I do that, and Dr. Tran, by all means, feel free to jump in anytime. I really, if you have some questions and you have a specific person, feel free to just go ahead and put it on the chat, or you can unmute yourself. A couple of, before we dive in, one of the things that I also wanted to share is, for those of you that are more comfortable in advocating by making phone calls, you have that option with 5 calls. Or if you decide, you know, you're more comfortable with forms, there's so many organizations that you can get involved with. On another slide, whether it be DREDF or ARC, tons, and I'm sorry, this is like not the cleanest, but these are some options if you want to get involved in a more advocacy level as far as it relates to disability rights or health equity. There's no time to talk about Medicaid or 504 or all the things that are happening. But if you are passionate, given our climate, you have several options depending, again, on your comfort level. So the CP Foundation, or Cerebral Palsy Foundation, does a remarkable job on Go Green for CP. If you don't want to write your own letter, contacting your legislators, you can do a copy and paste job. And all these various organizations offer options for you to advocate. for the disability community, which is very important. And then if you've never interacted with your legislators, please know that the link on the bottom is really how you can get involved. And then lastly, if you are looking for the recording, you can go onto YouTube for the LA County AD site. Again, I'm so sorry for the technical mishap. Brain fart for the day. And then also 2 links in the bottom where you can access more resources. But definitely would love to open the floor for, and while we look at an inspiring quote, does Guillermo, do you want to help me out on whose hands are raised? Or, I mean, I see Dr. Shibashi and Carlos.
Yeah, I'll go after Carlos, Reena. Thank you.
Okay. First, I want to thank the patient, all the panelists here. Okay, it was very informative. I also want to thank the moderator, Dave, and all of AD, Aging and Disabilities Department. But what I do want to emphasize to everybody here is these 2 panelists, Matthew and Kathleen. I know them personally. I know what they accomplished. I know how good they really are. This is just barely touching the surface of what they really do. So if you'd like more information on how to reach out to these great people, you can email me over at the Aging and Disabilities Department, and Solomon or Guillermo will get the message to me, and we'll get the message to you. And they are a wealth of knowledge, and they are great people, and they will help you. Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos. And I also put in the chat just to the next time that Matthew is having an event on May 3rd, where he's participating in Pasadena. So for those of you that want to go, I put that information down there, the Accessibility Resource Fair on May 3rd. And then he's also on Instagram. And then, of course, Kathleen's website, Dr. Shibashi.
Yeah, thank you, Reena. And Carlos, thank you so much. What a great webinar this became. I just noticed this webinar is attended by 135 participants. Can you imagine? So just wanted to say a few words of appreciation. First, again, thank you so much, President Benavides, for co-hosting this webinar as the president of the Los Angeles County Commission on Disabilities, and for your strong advocacy work, achievements for people with disabilities. Also, special thanks to our moderator, Reena De Asis. You did great, Reena. So thank you so much. And my deep appreciation to all the speakers for sharing your lived experiences. Your stories, very touching stories, have been truly inspiring. You know, your courage and dedication to achieving what you dreamed, your goals, serve us as a powerful reminder for all of us. That's a reminder of strength and confidence. And so, and there are so many in the community, people with disabilities that need our support. So let's continue working together toward inclusivity and empowerment. And at last but not least, I would like also to thank the staff who put together this webinar, Alex, Dave, Guillermo, appreciated. Again, thank you, everyone. This has been a successful webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love that it's the second one, and officially in Los Angeles, it is proclaimed as Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. And just as a reminder again, for the 25th is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day. But definitely, I know Abilities Expo just happened last weekend, which is a great place for people to connect in person. If people are hungry to just connect more, hopefully we'll have more events in person as well as online. I think there's something really powerful about building community and making connections and sharing resources. Does anyone else have any questions?
Commissioner Dika McLean.
Oh, okay. Yes, please, Dika.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you, staff. Well, as I said, I'm Commissioner McLean. I sit on the LA County Commission on Disabilities with our President Carlos, who just spoke. I just want to say thank you to Matthew, um, Reena, and my friend Kathleen. Thank you for representing. And I just want to let you guys know, keep it pushing, keep it moving, and don't let anyone tell you what you cannot do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you've done amazing with your career and your advocacy as well. So we really appreciate it. We don't seem to have any more questions.
I'm sorry, Reena, we have one more for last one for Ms. Erlinda Rodriguez.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you please unmute yourself?
Okay. You unmuted me. So thank you so much for let us have in your presentation. You know, we you know, I say we because I have a group support here in Downey, and we met and at the UCLA awareness. You know, for the last 2 years. So I would like to keep in touch with you, and whatever you need from me, and information about with people that speak Spanish could be wonderful to keep in touch, to always keep them informed about this disability. And I'm here to support you guys, and I think the support in between all of us is going to be easier our lives at home, and the connections with the organizations, everyone that you know, like wants to keep us together. We're gonna be stronger. So I'm here for you guys, and maybe we're gonna contact you, Reena, and thank you to everyone that support you and inform us on how update our lives and all the information with the community with cerebral palsy. So thank you everyone. And in behalf of my son who has cerebral palsy, and he's my son Michael Rodriguez, who has he's 35 years old, and with multiple disabilities. The cause of DCP is you know, pretty wonderful to have these webinars. So thank you everyone for let us stay in this good information for the community. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to respect everyone's time. So just as a reminder, I'm not sure if you are on the LA County's Aging and Disabilities email list and you get their newsletter, you will then get the link to the video, or you could wait, I believe, a few weeks and you can just go on YouTube. That's where the recording will be. And then if you want a copy of the presentation, you could contact me or Guillermo on Inclusive Soul. And just to let you know that Inclusive Soul is available in different languages. The resource platform, you just go on the top right corner of the website and you can convert it to Tagalog or Spanish, whatever you want. So hopefully that's helpful, and look out in the future for more events that we can gather as a community and share resources. So appreciate everyone's time, and I feel very inspired. Matthew, Kathleen, Dr. Tran has to see patients because she's a good doctor, not just hanging out. So she already left. But thank you, everyone. We broke record today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend.